Hey, so I'm gonna show you how I go from this to this. Okay, let's get started. Okay guys, so I am using the Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer Base. I'm putting this all over my face. I'm getting it into my fine lines, and I have deep pores, so I need to add a lot. This is my holy grail for laying a foundation, getting into those fine lines underneath my neck, any place where I have a little texture. Then I'm using the Prep and Prime by MAC primer. It's a peachy color. This is for my under eyes, which has dark circles, and my T-zone. I'm not a big fan of using a lot of concealer and everything in this area. I'd rather use this because it gives me a balanced look. I buff that in. And I know it looks a little crazy, but trust me, it all comes together. It's part of the process. I thought by using this little brush it would make it a little better, but I think that I like using the flat brush better because it gets like into the crevices of the under eye. But I do like this little brush for around the nose area. And then I'm going in with the Flesh Foundation shade 28 Cafe. I'm again going around my eyes, brightening up the T-zone. Instead of using concealer, I just like the look of using foundation because it gives me a rich balance in the middle of my face. And it's easier to apply the rest of my makeup. And because I can't always find my particular shade, I have to blend a couple of foundations to get my shade. I know with all the shades that we have out here, you would think that I would find my shade, but I haven't. Now this is the LA Girl, oh my goodness, LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Toast. And I have my little sponge where I don't really love the beauty blenders. I use them sometimes, but I like this kind of sponge. It's like a pack is like 99 cents at CVS, where I can just work the product into my face. Now I'm adding my foundation, the L'Oreal Paris True Match Lumi Healthy Luminous Makeup in the shade C7 8 Nut Brown. And I'm using a different foundation brush to work that into the skin. Super important to get the shade all the way down your neck, so you don't be walking around with one shade on the top of your head and another shade in the bottom. Guys, I had a little cold, so my nose was running. Excuse that. Act like that didn't happen. That's why I keep sniffling. Then I'm going in with the Flush shade 36 Mocha to bring a little warmth back into my skin around the perimeter of my face. I don't know, I don't like the middle of my face to be super bright. I mean, for some occasions, it's cool, like if you go into a wedding or something, that's for me. But for an everyday look, you know, I like a little bit of, how should I say, warmth around my face and for my skin to look an even tone. In the middle of my face, I like for it to be bright, but not overly bright, where like it's 2 or 3 shades lighter than my skin. I think for me, that's overdoing it, but to each their own. Okay, now I'm going into the Afrique palette from by Juvia's, and I'm using the shade Cameroon for as a transition shade. I love all Juvia's Place shadows. They can do no wrong. They're highly pigmented. They're just beautiful. Made for all skin tones. Like, I think I have every palette. I'm that in love with them. Guys, I keep looking into my monitor because I'm trying to get used to it. Then I'm going back into the palette, the Afrique palette, using the shade Kofi. Come on. You can do it. There we go. This is such a beautiful shade. It really complements my skin tone. I mean, if I wanted, I could stop right here after applying this shadow and put on a liquid liner and a little bit of mascara and keep it pushing. This is such a beautiful shade by itself. But this whole palette really complements the shades that's in there. I'm bringing that up into my crease, trying to get it evenly spread out. I don't know about you guys, but applying makeup is very soothing for me. It calms me down. I really enjoy the process. And so I was using like a little buffer brush to buff that shade in and spread it out. Then I'm going into the Tribe palette by Juvia, which is another magnificent palette. And I'm using the shade San, S-A-N, and the shade above it, Kuba, K-U-B-A. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing these correctly, but I'm using these shades in the corner. One, Kuba is metallic and San is matte. And I'm buffing the shade out so that I can really blow it out a little bit. Not too much, but and then I'm bringing it down at some point to my lower lash line. I'm also going to bring that shade high into the crease. This is such a beautiful color. Oh my goodness. And then I'm dipping into the shade Curla. I think I'm saying it right, K-U-R-L-A. Oh, and what I do with this is, if I want to see how a shade is going to look on my lid, and I don't want to put it on there for fear that I might mess it up, I'll put the NYX eyeshadow. I don't want to put it on there for fear that I might mess it up. I'll put the NYX eyeshadow base on my arm, then apply the shadow so I can see what it'll look like, and then make a decision as to whether I want to apply it to my lid or not. And in this case, I decided not to go with it because it was pigmented enough and I didn't need the orange to be super bright. So I applied it in the, I don't know what you call that, like in the middle. You might hear some extra sounds going on around me. I'm new to this editing system, and you know, I guess I'll get better at time. But in the meantime, in between time, I'm using that same orange shade to hit that lower lid. And then I'm gonna apply the blue shade in the Afrique palette. I can't do this name justice. I think it's called Cote de Liver, like a French word, COTEDLVOIRE. And it's such a beautiful electric royal blue. Look at how much better my lower lid looks. It just pops. And this really gave me an idea that I didn't want to go with your regular lipstick. You'll see what I mean in a minute. It looks so pretty. I don't know if I said this before, but I was kind of having issues with my camera overheating. So at some point in time, you're going to see this look like fast forward. I'll let you know when. But this is my first video, people. I'm not a genius yet. There we go. Full face. You see my brows are done. And I use for my brows the Kat Von D Super 24-Hour Brow Pomade in the shade Walnut. And now I'm applying my Laura Mercier translucent powder in the middle of my face, the translucent medium deep loose setting powder. And I'm using the same little buffer pad that I had. Now I'm adding a little bit of contour to my cheeks. I think what I might have done is use one of the Juvia's palettes and added a little shadow to my cheeks for a light contour to give me an area of like a location where I needed to put it. Gives me, it's like a guide. And then I go in with the Sephora. Oh, now I'm hitting the high points of my cheekbones, my upper cheekbones with the Fenty Kilowatt highlighter. I'm using Hustle Baby. And I don't like to overdo it. I'm putting it on the bridge of my nose. I don't like to overdo it. I like to hit the spots and it to be light. So it lightly brightens the center of my face. And when the light shines on it, the natural light, you can see all of that. But it's not overly done. And so I'm going back into that blue shade in the Afrique palette just to intensify the shade. And then I'm using the Kush mascara by Milk. I don't remember what the shade is, but it was a shade of dark black. Oh, and then here I'm adding in my Tokyo Butter lip chap before I add my lipstick on. It's so good. I have to take a picture of it and insert it. I think at the end of this plane, I'm just going to insert that. Here's the Kat Von D liquid lip in the shade Echo. It's such a beautiful blue. The camera's not even doing it justice. It's such a beautiful electric blue. And they go on and they do not come off. These you can eat with, they do not come off. Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And as you can see, the blue that I put under my eye from the Afrique powder set the tone for the shade that I wanted to use for my lips. And then I added the BH Cosmetic eye highlights. Sometimes the makeup is interchangeable. Sometimes you're not supposed to use it on certain parts, but I took a chance. I thought it was beautiful, so I put it on my lips. And look at that beautiful metallic look that appeared. Super pretty. And it just seems like every time I press my lips together, it just got better. It's like a iridescent duochrome. It's blue, gold, and it has like highlights or hints of green. That looks so pretty. And I think what I did, this is me looking to make sure it looks good. And I'm over here asking my daughter, how do you think that looks? She's my co-pilot when I do my makeup to let me know if I need to add anything. And she said I should add some more blue to the lid. It would make it pop. And my lower, and my, on the top of my lid, but like at the very bottom where you would put eyeliner. So instead of putting eyeliner, I would use that blue shadow and create like a line, but you'll see it toward the end. And then that liquid, I used the cream concealer by Sephora in the shade Pepper to intensify my contour. You just cut them cheekbones, girl, go ahead. And now this is the end. You know, this is my first video ever. It was a little challenging, but we made it happen. So if you stayed this long, you might as well like, subscribe, and comment, and click that notification button for new uploads. Bronx every day, all day, you heard?